Hey guys, Raider here. Hope you're all doing great and having a fantastic day. Well, it's time. Samsung is releasing their successor to the Galaxy Book line. They're releasing the Galaxy Book 2, Galaxy Book 2 360, and Galaxy Book 2 360 Pro. Pre-orders go up next Friday, March 18th, and they'll be available in stores on April 1st. So let's talk about the successors to last year's model, which just so happens to have come out about 10.5 months ago. We'll discuss the hardware, the software, and the key reasons why I am definitely upgrading. All right, let's get started. First, let's talk about the hardware, and we'll start with the CPU. The coming up models are going to feature Intel's 12th generation of processors, the Alder Lake line, which is a successor to last year's Tiger Lake, and this features up to a 75% bump in multi-core performance. We have three offerings, an i3, an i5, and i7, and this chipset will support Wi-Fi 6E, which is on board. This is Intel's first go-around at hybrid tech, which means we have a blend of performance and efficiency cores, getting us up to Apple's M1 Max Pro chip speed, which is absolutely fantastic. And as I mentioned, we're going to see a 75% increase in multi-core. That's going to help speed up productivity tasks such as video editing, graphics work, all those types of things that you professionals need on a day-to-day basis. Next, let's talk about the security additions that have been added to this year's models. We have Microsoft Secure Core PC enterprise level security built in. And what does that mean? Basically what it means is you're going to have a machine that's better equipped to protect itself. It does malware checks at boot time, and this is a requirement to work in many government and banking type agencies. We're also getting the addition of Private Share, which allows you to securely transfer and store your secure and most private data such as birth certificates, social security cards, bank statements, anything that's personal data to you, all PI related data. These are welcome security features for those of you that want to use this in your professional environment. Now you won't have to worry about carrying a business machine that meets the requirements of whatever contract you're on, and you can now bring in your personal machine that meets the requirements. So that's pretty awesome. Not too big of a concern for me personally, but it is awesome for those of you that are impacted by those requirements. Next up, we have the display. This, for me personally, is the number one reason I'm upgrading. All right, let's take a look at the last year's model. I'm maxed out right now. What you see is a maximum brightness, which to me is just right for indoors. And I have a problem with that. I like my devices to have a little bit of headroom. And what I mean by that is, I never like to have any one setting turned up to the max. I don't like to have to turn my audio up. I don't like to have my brightness up. I don't like to have anything up. I like to know that when I'm using it, I have a little bit extra. I have a little bit extra on tap for when I need it. So when I go outside, I can crank that brightness up a little bit more. When the kids are getting loud, I can turn that audio up a little bit more. I like to have that headroom. That is the biggest flaw for this current gen that's about to be replaced. There's no headroom in these two areas. The audio, I'm always pushing 70 to 80%. And then I'm pushing close to 100 if the house gets busy. In the brightness, I'm always near 100. I'm at maybe one or two clicks below it, but oftentimes I'm just maxed out. I just maxed it all the way up. I don't like that. I like to have that headroom. And what we are getting in this next release is an increase of 33% in brightness. That's fantastic. We're going up to close to 400 nits, 500 nits for HDR. This features Intel Xeris X graphics. And we do have Intel Art graphics available, but only on one model, and that's going to be the Galaxy Book 2, the 15-inch model. So far, according to the specs that I've seen, none of the other models are going to have that option available. That's unfortunate. We also have another model that's the Galaxy Book 360, which doesn't have Pro in the name, and this one's going to have an LCD display and come in at a much lower price point of $899. I don't have confirmation whether or not it's going to have S Pen support though, something to consider. Next up, let's talk about audio. As I mentioned, this particular one, it does okay. Once you enable Dolby Atmos and you tweak the settings a little bit, it does pretty good. On the next model, the audio is supposed to be improved and it's supposed to be louder. So that's a definite welcome addition. Any other details about it, I'm not certain yet. We'll find out at pre-release time when they come out. But for the time being, we're supposed to be promised better audio. Webcam. So on the current generation that I'm using, this has a 720p webcam, which looks like crap. Just flat out looks like crap. I mean, it's very grainy. It's terrible. What are we getting this coming year? 1080p and a wider 87 degree field of view coming up from 77 degrees. So what does that mean? That means we're getting a webcam that's usable. First of all, it's going to have better response to light because we have a wider field of view. It's going to help capture in more light, and you're going to be able to take in more of your surroundings. You know, you're not going to be so cropped in. It's not going to look so awkward looking like it did on this model here. So huge improvements for the webcam. They are welcome. That's been a huge complaint of this model for most people. And now we're going to see that complaint go away. So that's fantastic. Next up, memory options. In the current generation, we have two, 8 and 16 gigabytes. But now, coming out in this year's models, we have 8, 16, and a very welcome 32 gigabyte option. So that's fantastic. Many of you have been asking for that, especially for those of you doing system-intensive tasks such as video editing. It is a welcome addition, so we do have that option this year. Unfortunately, one thing that's not upgraded this year on the hardware side that I was really hoping for was the display resolution and the refresh rate. Again, we're going to see full HD, 1080p, and we're going to see it at 60 Hertz. With S Pen support, nothing changes in that area. S Pen performance at 60 Hertz on this panel has been pretty good. I don't have any complaints, but it sure would have been nice to see a spec bump in that area as well. I would have loved to at least seen a 1440p option at a bare minimum, but instead we're still stuck with full HD. Not the end of the world. As you can see, this is a beautiful display. It is gorgeous. When you sit back from it a little ways at a comfortable viewing distance, it does look sharp. It looks fine. It's when you get up close to it though, you're going to start seeing that little bit of pixelization. It's not enough to bug me. For those of you that are concerned, you might want to check one out in person if you haven't seen this current generation model. However, I'm very pleased with it. It does look great, no complaints, especially since we're getting touted the same battery life. We're supposed to get up to 21 hours, which we know is not going to be the case. It'll be closer to 11 hours, but think about that for a second. 11 hours as a full workday plus extra on a single charge on a high-performance machine. In a slim machine, this is coming in at 3.1 pounds, so is the next model coming out. It's ultra thin, it's ultra portable, and it's ultra sleek. What else on the hardware front? We have 3 color options. We're going to have graphite, which is the same as this Tab S8 Ultra here. We're going to have burgundy, which looks pretty good. I like it, but it's just not my thing. I want it to match my Tab S8 Ultra. And then we have silver, more the business type look. So 3 different options there. All right, and that about sums up the hardware. So as I mentioned, we're getting that nice 33% brightness increase. We're getting a slight boost in audio performance. How much of it, we'll find out soon. And we're getting a very welcome upgrade to the webcam. That has been a huge complaint for many of you, and I'm glad to see Samsung has addressed it. All of the low-hanging fruit have been addressed by Samsung. All of the stuff that we would have liked to seen in this model here is now going to be on the next model. So we do have some very solid hardware upgrades, especially with that 75% multi-core improvements that we're seeing on the Intel 12th Gen. Let's keep in mind, this chipset rivals the M1 Max Pro, which is absolutely fantastic. You know, that's been their one thing in saying that, well, you guys just can't match us on the processor spec. Now we can. All right, that wraps up the hardware. Let's move on to the software, and we have some exciting additions that are added to this next year's models. We have a new thing called One UI Book 4. And what is it? Well, it's basically One UI from our mobile devices getting incorporated right into Windows. So just imagine this. You're looking at your laptop, boom, you get a phone call, but instead of having to use like your phone from Windows or Samsung Flow or some other application that you put on here to interact with your phone calls, boom, you have your dialer app, you have your text messaging app, you have all your key Samsung apps. All the stuff that you're used to doing on your mobile device, you now have right in front of you on your laptop. Just think of how cool that is. You want to make a quick phone call, you don't have any other devices around, boom, one button and you push your phone dialer, just like on your phone. That's going to be awesome. And we can be assured that Samsung is going to add additional functionality to that via updates, just like they do with the One UI for our mobile devices. So we're going to see a lot of awesome things in that area to come. What they're also adding is multi-control, and this is a direct competitor to universal control from Apple, except I think they've taken it a step further. You have multiple things that you're going to be able to do with this. Just imagine this. Just imagine. You're at your new Galaxy Book 2. You move your mouse cursor, and it goes over to your Fold 3, back to the Galaxy Book, back to your Tab S8, whatever tablet you have, whatever phone you have, back here, and you're doing everything, and it automatically detects which one is where, so you're never off track. You have that same functionality that Apple's had. Now we get it. Awesome. But we take it a step further. What if you don't want to just continue the cursor over here and do this and that, and you want to just take complete control of a machine? Now you're actually turning this into a KVM switch. In addition to the multi-control, we have app continuation. And what does that mean? That means I can start work on a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, or have a Samsung Note, or any type of application, whatever it may be, and continue where I left off on the other device. You literally get a notification on the tablet that it'll show your recent documents that you were working with on your other machines, and you're going to be able to continue it. And this is coming with the new version. That's very exciting for those of us that like to just go from one device to the next, move from room to room. We'll now be able to pick up and continue right where we left off. You don't have to save, you don't have to do anything. You're just going to use the application and start using it on another device. As long as you're initiating it from the Galaxy Book 2, and you'll be able to use it with everything. That is absolutely fantastic. In addition to all this, let's not forget about second screen, and it's going to be improved on this next model, in which you don't have to download Samsung second screen to get full screen support on this. And what do I mean by that? Is we have a 16:9 aspect ratio here, and on any of Samsung's tablets that you would use a second screen functionality with, they are a 16:10 aspect ratio. So on the next model, it's automatically going to take that 16:9 aspect ratio and stretch it out to be a 16:10 over here. Another addition is they've enhanced Bixby to where you'll be able to control not just your Galaxy Book 2 Pro 360, but also the devices that you have next to it. I can tell Bixby to open up an S Note on my Tab S8 Ultra from here. I can tell Bixby to do this on my phone. I can tell it to do this on this laptop. You get to pick which device you want, and it works seamlessly. So between the software and between the hardware changes, I'm pretty excited about it. I want the brighter screen, check. I want better speakers, check. And I want the ability to be able to easily go from one device to the next and have them just work together flawlessly and effortlessly. And we're finally truly getting that. You're not going to need Samsung Flow all the time anymore. You won't need Windows Your Phone. You have everything integrated and baked in. I think that's sweet. I mean, it really is. You just hop on the machine, use it, and use your other devices from it. Right here. Control everything right from your new laptop. I like that a lot. Let's talk about pricing. So we have three models. The Galaxy Book 2 360, the one that's going to have the LCD display and most likely not feature the S Pen, is going to come in at a starting price of $899 here in the US. Then we have the Galaxy Book 2 Pro, which is a clamshell version of this, a non-360, non-touch input version. That's going to have a starting price of $1,050 here in the US. Then we have the Galaxy Book 2 Pro 360. That's going to be the successor to this model here. And that's going to come in at a starting price for the 13-inch model at $1,250. And prices go up from there. When are they going to be available? Pre-orders start next Friday on March 18th. They're going to hit stores on April 1st. I'm excited about it. You know, I wasn't at first, but after really digging in and looking at all the little improvements, between the improvements in the display brightness, the audio, and the webcam, and the new integration that we're getting with Intel 12th Gen on top of that, I'm pretty excited about it, and I will be pre-ordering it. I will have it here on the channel. We'll do some side-by-side comparisons. We'll see how good it is. I think it's going to be a pretty great upgrade. I'm pretty excited about it. All right, guys, as always, thanks for watching.